Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. As the temperatures soar into the 90s with our summer heat here in North Carolina, a zone 8A, I am finding that my spring containers, they are struggling. So it is time to swap them out with annuals that not only survive but thrive in the heat and the humidity of July, August, and September here in the Southeast. They have got three different, very different locations. And all of these annuals are going to just give me gorgeous color, structure, and interest throughout the entire rest of the summer and even support my pollinators. So without further ado, let's get to planting. I am hugging the shade as much as possible because it is early afternoon and I am outside. You know what, y'all? Sometimes life just lifes and you get out in the garden when you can. Such is the day to today, so you're going to see Jenny glisten in all of her glory. We are going to plant. The first planter is a unique stone trough here along the pathway at the Forest Pansy. If you are familiar with this garden, then you know that it has interesting sun conditions. This particular spot will be morning shade and then hot afternoon sun. This is a great example of sometimes you can push the limits of what the plant tag says it can do. What do I mean? We're going to be planting the trough with, as you know it, my favorites, the Heart Creme Brulee caladium. Now, Creme Brulee is new this year from Proven Winners, and it is rated as a shade caladium. As you can see, lots of sun right here, and we'll get afternoon sun at that. However, the reason that I am pushing my limits is because last year, in the spot that was like, I think it was either to the left or to the right of this urn. Forgive me, I want to say it was to the left of this urn by like 6 inches, and I had a creme brulee in there, and y'all, it was an absolutely spectacular, glorious, beautiful. That is where I fell in love with the Heart Creme Brulee. So that is why I am going to go ahead and push my limits and put it back in the same spot. We're going to keep it simple, sweetie, and we are just going to simply add in some Diamond Frost euphorbia with it. This is going to be a simple. All my containers today are going to be kind of simple on the lower side because this is not the time to do big intricate containers because of I need to have as much soil available to these plants as possible. So you will notice that I did empty out the trough completely. There is no soil. If there is soil, it's just little dustings of it. So what we're going to do first is my classic recipe for a successful container. Let's talk about it. I've got all of my supplies here. I have got my Land and Sea compost. We're going to put that in the bottom of the container. Then we're going to fill it up with my favorite potting soil. This is Grower's Gold. Love this. Plants do great in it. I've got my biotone starter fertilizer. It's in a little red pail because it's a fresh bag of biotone and it's heavy. So I just am working smarter, not harder. So I have that. And then I have some mulch that we're going to top dress. So when you were thinking about doing your summer containers, let's talk about this, my friends. Let's have a little gardening class session here as I open up my compost. Now, I am in North Carolina, zone 8A, and we have very long growing seasons. So when I am doing a container, specifically thinking about for summer, like the heat of the summer, I want to think what is best for the plants and what honestly is easiest for me as the gardener. So this is where we're going to not going to jam pack this container slap full of annuals because I did that in the spring with my super bells in here. It was stunning. It was gorgeous. When I took out those annuals, it literally just picked up all at once because the roots had completely overtaken the container, which is fantastic. But that's why we have to start with new soil. So I want to have as much soil to root ratio as I possibly can because that means the plants are going to have plenty of food available to them. and they are not going to have to be competing massively against the other plants in there. Also, for me, it means I have to water less. Instead of watering twice a day in the heat of the summer, maybe it's every other day. I will take that. So the reason that we put compost in the bottom of the containers is because a couple of reasons. It is going to help retain more moisture so it doesn't drain as quickly as my potting soil. So it's going to hold on to some of that moisture for me, which is always a great thing. And it is another layer of food for when the roots actually hit that compost, then it is another food source for them, a great natural organic food source for them. So that means I'm not having to fertilize it very much. Now, these are, that I'm using, caladiums. They thrive in the heat and the humidity. I have got 4 of them here. We're gonna see, I think I'm gonna use all 4. We'll see. But they actually need the humidity to survive and thrive. They don't do well in arid climates. So that would maybe be if you are in more of that drier air environment. Oh, bless your heart, because let me tell you, I'm kind of envious because right now it is thick. As one of our local weather guys says, this is air that you wear. Like, that is how just thick it is right now. And I'm trying to sit here and think how I'm going to do this. All right, I may just do, you know what, y'all? We're going to call an audible, and we're just going to plant 1 of the diamond frost here in the middle because this is a beautiful one, and I don't want, again, to have tons of plants in here and do a ton of watering. So we're going to do 4 caladiums and 1 of the diamond frost. Now, this container is from Unique Stone. It's probably maybe 12 to 14 inches this way and probably 24 inches this way and maybe 10 inches deep. So that kind of gives you an idea of the space. I always say to use the biggest container that your space will allow and always fill it up with fresh soil. So the idea with the diamond frost is that it is going to intermingle with the caladiums and give that really kind of light, airy, very romantic look to this container. But having these heat-loving, humidity-loving plants in here makes all the difference. It is going to make my life so much easier. And from a design standpoint, I don't know if y'all just saw that. I don't know if you could see Brenna run by. But if not, she's been swimming in the creek. So she is a wet German Shepherd. So it's a good thing we're just starting this video because she can't go in the house like that. The dog distracted us, so forgive us. I don't even know what we were talking about, my friends. And so, yeah. So we've got this beautiful romantic look, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come back. If you're not top dressing your containers with some mulch, y'all, this is a huge saver for you on watering your plants. This layer of mulch, yes, in the containers is going to retain moisture big time. So you're not going to have to come out here and water as much. These little tips and tricks that I'm sharing with you are going to make your life easier in the garden in the heat of the summer because we need all the help we can get. So I'm just going to top dress this and then I'll show it to you finished here in just a second. All right, here we go. They are all planted. Now, caladiums will produce a flower. I do not want it to flower. I want the foliage. So I take those flowers every time I see those buds forming and I snip them off. If you want your caladium to flower, then leave it. But I want the energy to go in producing more beautiful leaves rather than the flowers. The flowers are nothing special in my opinion, but do what you want to in your garden. Obviously, whenever we finish planting up a container, especially when we're doing a hot summer container, we are going to make sure to give it lots and lots of water and get that whole soil completely saturated. Now, the great thing is that right now, like we talked about, there's not a lot of roots that are taking up this container. So we have a lot of available soil for us. That means I'm not gonna have to be watering this twice a day. Now, in order to get my annuals going and to get those roots nice and happy, I'm gonna watch it, because of course the summer heat can do a number on these newly planted annuals. So just come and check it, check your soil, and then check specifically right where those annual root balls are and see if they're dry. You may just need to give that root ball, like right on top of the plant like this, a little shot of water to make sure that the root ball is nice and moist and those roots get going, and then man, you're gonna be just fine. Get all that water, and if you can see the bottom of your container where your drain hole is, water it until you see water coming out. This container is raised up on a block, but I can't see it, so we're just going to say that that is good. All right, now we're going to go to a window box. This is kind of like summer speed planting is what we're doing, because it's, you know, now it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you know, you know. So here we have on the garden shed, I have this cute, and it is a small half circle window box, and it is a cocoa line window box, and I've used this cocoa liner for quite a while now. This is probably the last time I can plant in the cocoa liner. So because it is small, we're gonna be using 3 plants, and we're definitely gonna be adding the compost to the bottom so that it retains that moisture, because your cocoa lined hanging baskets, whatever, they're going to naturally dry out a little quicker than that cement container from Unique Stone. All right, so we've got our soil is all in here. Our biotone slow release fertilizer is in there. It's going to help tremendously. I didn't really use slow release fertilizer with the creme brulee and the diamond frost. Absolutely can do it. They are not heavy feeders. All will be well. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep it simple, sweetie. Look at this gorgeous caladium. Yes, we're using more caladiums because they do love the heat and the humidity. This is the Heart to Heart White Wonder. It can do sun or shade. It is a strap leaf caladium. It is going to give us those beautiful creams, green edging, green veining with a little bit of like a pink throat to it. So pretty. So what I'm going to do, excuse me while I stand in front of the camera, is put it dead center both ways. Both vertically and horizontally, we're putting this dead center. Now y'all, I'm going to go a little something different. We're going to use 2 different colors of scaevola. If you're not growing again scaevola in your summer garden, then you've got to add these. All right, so we have got the Creekside Champions. These 2, we got lilac mist and then the pink scaevola. In the greenhouse, the production greenhouse, they were growing right beside each other and they were intermingling and they were gorgeous. So I was like, you know what? I want to try that in my container. So I'm going to put 1 on each side. Before we know it, this is going to be full and spilling over with these gorgeous caladium and scaevolas. All right, my friends, so 2 planters down, 1 to go. Megan is helping me today. It is so stinking hot, y'all. I can't even talk straight. So the cameras are overheating because it's so warm. So she is helping me film and we are in the shade. So we are at the chicken coop and I have my copper hanging basket. Y'all, I love this. I have 1 here at the chicken coop and 2 on the back porch. H Potter. This is where these come from and they hang from a chain. So a nice big container has a good drain hole in it. Now it is a round bottom, so what we're going to do is put it in my tub so it won't roll completely away from me. And again, we're doing the exact same thing as far as the layering. You're going to notice there is a method to my madness. So that goes in. We're going to zhuzh it around. So you can choose how much you want to put in there. Basically, it's kind of like a fourth to a third of the container is that compost. And then we come back, of course, with our potting soil. All right, so there we go. Soil is in. And that's another thing I love about these copper kettles is that they don't evaporate, right? So you've got all this beautiful soil in there, and we are just gonna have the best time. Now, what are we gonna put in here? Well, of course, we got our fertilizers. So in goes the biotone. There you go. This is most definitely a full sun, like hot afternoon up at the chicken coop container. So I have done, y'all, when you find something that works, stick with it. So for the past 2 years, I have done portulaca in my container, this hanging basket for the late summer, and it is unbelievable. So what we're doing this year is we're doing the Creekside Champions. This is the Mega Pizzazz Orange. Huge, massive blooms on it. It has a little bit of the, leans towards a red orange, if you will, but just massive blooms. And portulaca is famous for being drought tolerant once established, thrives in the heat and the humidity, will mound up and trail over all at the same time. And y'all, you can see I am not being gentle with these plants. Just slap them in there. Now, I did space them because I've got the 3 chains, so I don't want the chain to come straight through the center of a plant. So I tried to put the plants between where the chains are going to go. So we've got that, and then of course top dress with the mulch. So the first year I did the fuchsia portulaca, went all the way through, I think it was like November, so hard freeze. Loved that bright hot pink color up here. And then last year I did the yellow, and in just a second I'm going to show you exactly. If I were to forget what color I did, I can't forget now. I'm going to explain that in just a second. Megan and I, that was a workout to get that baby hung with all of the annuals right here that are so big, but we got it hung. Y'all, I know it's not anything to look at right now. That's okay. I am planting for longevity and to make it through the heat of the summer, not to look magazine worthy right now. I am going to do a garden tour up here sometime soon because as you can see, the annuals here are absolutely thriving. Ignore the weeds. Yeah, it's all right. It's part of gardening. You know, we may be going to some extreme heat, but the weeds, man, they thrive. And look at that. Oh my gosh, I know I said I was going to do it later, but look at that echinacea. Oh, isn't she glorious? All right, so we have got the portulaca planted, and then remember how I said that in case I did forget about what color I did last year with the portulaca, y'all, obviously that portulaca, the Mojave yellow last year seeded because I have got a beautiful crop of the yellow portulaca in all sorts of places right around here. I saw it kind of germinating, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that that's what it was, but I was like, well, let's just see what color it turns out to be. So it was the yellow, but look at that. I am not going to pull it up. I am going to leave it. The pollinators love the Mojave yellow. Yeah, so there you go. That Mojave went to seed, and I've got a beautiful outcrop of it right there. And then just a little sneak peek because I just can't help myself. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we planted up the trial annuals here off to the side of the chicken coop. Y'all, I am impressed. I'm telling you, I love it. There's basically all just singles of the plants, but man, are they not looking amazing? I mean, considering I have done nothing. I've given them a little bit of water every once in a while, but man, my gosh, they're doing good. So when we do that garden tour, we'll do a more up depth and close because there are some that I am very, very impressed with. I'm gonna hide behind a little bit of the shade of this cherry tree right here. Yeah, so, you know, this would be a case of don't do as I do as I say, not as I do. 2 o'clock gardening in North Carolina, July, wouldn't recommend it. But you know what? It is all right. It is a natural, organic, free detox. As long as you're hydrating yourself, you'll be fine. But all of these annuals, my gosh, y'all, they are absolutely going to thrive. I know they are because I've had years of experience with these plants, and they are going to take off and be gorgeous. Once they get those roots established, they are not going to miss a beat. It doesn't matter if it's in the 90s or the hundreds. They are going to do great. So whether you have that kind of part sun, filtered sun area, you want to use those shade caladiums, or cheat and put it in the full sun because you know it'll work. Or you want to put a little hay rag with a drought-tolerant scaevolas once established. Now remember, y'all, drought-tolerant, like the portulaca, drought-tolerant does not mean drought-proof. You got to still get out there and water the plants. Doesn't mean you're watering them as much as some of the other divas in the garden, but drought tolerant, not drought proof. Just want to say that. But these guys are going to do great. They're not going to miss a beat, and they're going to go all the way through, for me, a frost. Probably that would be like sometime in November. So as always, we hope you found it fun, informative, inspirational. Megan said, I can't believe we don't have a pool yet. And I was like, yeah, well, we made it this long. I guess we'll just have to run through the sprinklers. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye, friends.